What's up, CIRF family? How about this? So YouTube sort of half blocks our last report, and then the viewership actually goes up a little bit. So how about that? Thank you, everybody. This CIRF report is for the week of July 14th to the 20th, and it's called Caring versus the Control Continuum. Oh, that's the song that got me the copyright suit, so don't stay there too long. Let's go to the summary page while I pull up my focus. The caring and control continuum is thought of as, you know, how people really care, or you're forced to care. So like we get into this ideology of over caring, which starts to look like control rather than true caring. And so, yeah, you can pitch the intention in there and include that, but that's kind of the energy we're focused on. And we will go through the astrology that mainly is at play here. It's right in the center of our purple circle. So if you're new here, we try to triangulate for the influence, one biggest influence, so that you can look for that energy, look for that feeling. And then we want to do something potentially different as a behavior, either to accentuate our success or get the least crappiness out of that week, that kind of thing. So we're going to do the triangulation again for the solution, but this slide is for the influence. And the purple circle represents all the astrology, tropical astrology. And in that astrology, we have Sun and Mercury. So we have a Mercury combust, which means Mercury is headed towards the Sun, and in doing so is going to get burned out, weakened, and then we'll have a Cazimi. So it's like just brief period within 8 minutes or 17 minutes of conjunction, perfection. You're going to have like an enlightenment period with mind going really great. And it's in Cancer, so that's this caring thing. So Sun and Mercury working their way through Cancer. Everyone is caring. Your mind is getting weakened right now as Mercury gets closer to the Sun. And so it's sort of like self-sacrifice-ish kind of, but you truly care. You care, nurture. Cancer is also feeling vulnerable and need to be protected. And so they've got that theme in there into Cancer. But on the other side, because you've got Sun and Mercury, both are going to oppose Pluto. And I just got a notification. Sorry, I got my mind shifted a little bit. So you got Sun, Mercury oppose Pluto. So this is this balancing act or the continuum. And Pluto is control, death and rebirth, authoritarianism, control. So we got to balance those out. That's what the oppositions are asked us to do. And that's right in the middle of the astrology. You have the dream bot, by the way, that is doing. The dream bot is for the collective unconscious. It's the barometer of what the collective mind is doing, postulated by Carl Jung. And so we look at the people's dreams, and the most common themes are driver, passenger. This is movement and travel by Mercury. Mercury is the holder of that. And teaching, learning, that's also Mercury. So the collective is all about Mercury. It's the strong focal point of the collective unconscious, and that is right in the middle because Mercury is part of that opposition with Pluto. And then you have I-Ching 37, which is mainly attributed by Sun and Mercury. There's Mercury again. But more trine than Neptune, because extended family is the intertwining. I forgot to mention last week's I-Ching readings, both the influence and the solution were all about holding together and being together and grouping. Well, we continue that theme in the influence with extended family. Now our amoeba or our connections are even further out. So this is about our inner connectivity throughout the entire human species. And that's matched with the astrology of Sun, Mercury, trine Neptune. And we have Venus moving into Cancer. So this is like the interconnectivity of us all is this, and that matches with the caring and the control. The whole continuum is here in this I-Ching. So we have a high congruency score, high overlap. The theme is pretty clear, and you'll see that especially when we get into. There's a lot more astrology to cover, and we'll do that, break that down day by day. But let's go ahead and get started. All right, sound good? All right. Let's see if we get a copyright strike again. If we do, we're going to have to change our song. The song that Let's Go Surfing, I think, I can't remember who, Beach Boys, maybe? I don't know. Who was that? Who sung that? Well, anyway, that was my copyright strike because I saw the video from last week and I spent a lot of time on that slide. So that there was a long duration of that song. So I think we're okay if we shorten it, but I slowed down that song so that that thing wouldn't happen. The copyright strike wouldn't even happen, but we'll check it out this time. That's interesting how they restrict our video in some countries, and we actually get more viewers last week. So interesting. How about hit us again? Oh. All right. Comments are awesome. Radio. This one surprised me how nobody except myself liked it. So Radio Hill says, has anyone noticed a lot of squares when the mass shootings or mass deaths take place? I was intending on researching that for you. I ran out of time. And I want to put that on my list to do because I'm very curious about that very question. Thank you, Radio Hill. Not for me to say, says best channel ever. Shout out to you. Thank you. Not for me to say. And also over on Rumble, shout out to Philly369 Garden. I see it and feel it already, brother. On point as always. Cheers. Cheers to you, Philly. And the best comment of the week, as determined by all of you, is brought to you by this week's special. So listen up, everybody. You get 50% off if you sign up this week for a PLR, a past life regression from Angie, our hypnotherapist and my soulmate. And she is doing a phenomenal job bringing out some amazing insights from so many clients for them. And a lot of those are having to do with past life regression. So she's actually moving her way towards what's called between life hypnotherapy. She can't even start that until she gets enough hours to do that training. But that's the next evolution in her career. And she's doing a phenomenal job at it. So go to innerzention.com and give Angie a question, or hey, say I want to do the PLR for 50% off. All right, first come, first serve. And the winner this week is Terry with four ups and 2 replies, which just barely beat out Not For Me to Say because of the replies. Ironically, one of those replies was Not For Me to Say. So Terry says, hola, y'all. I'm the first comment. So shout out right there. And cheers, my surfer family. Shout out there because we are a family. And reminder of this song, we gather together to count the Lord's blessings. I'd like to continue that prayer this week as we continue to hold together and explore what the influence is and the solutions. All right, well, let's look at the Dreambot real quick. And what we have at the top is SAT. That could really mean a lot of things. That's why it's the importance of these groupings and pairings and memes, and which I didn't even write them down here, but we can figure that out pretty well. But SAT didn't go so well. Well, it goes actually well with car and teacher. In other words, school. This is a schooling. And so I put it in with the schooling, but it should have a red arrow as well. So SAT is the combination. Some people think of Saturn, maybe short for Saturn, but that meme doesn't really show up in here. But SAT with Mercury happens really well because you sit in a car, you sit in the school, and so that works. The red arrows are basically transportation. Even carpool was in there. Passenger, driver, parking. I mean, it's very, very obvious. And then the blue arrows are more of learning, including desk, teacher, awareness, thinking, and practice even. So a lot of Mercury. It's all entirely, I mean, not completely, but the predominant feature is Mercury, which is ironic because Mercury is actually going combust this week, meaning that he's going to get weakened. So your mental aptitude, your logic is sort of going to go out the window this week. And then after this week, or after, let's see, in this week, so after Mercury, this is where Mercury is going to go combust. And then right as soon as that combust is pretty much over, right into Leo, where Mercury goes into a fall, and so the least amount of ease. So it makes Mercury a little harder to think, less facilitation. It's going to take a lot more effort, but thinking and communicating and traveling goes into Leo is a lot more childish in nature and needs to be recognized, a lot more whiny, and a lot less caring for sure, and a lot more dominating. That energy there. Venus will also go into a different sign. This one, Cancer, and we mentioned that earlier. So relationships are much more nurturing and caring and motherly. This is a reminder that you still have Neptune and Pluto in a sextile until the end of December 2023. And so accessing powerful dreams. The window is open now. Get on your dreams. Okay. Powerful dreams are at play. And this is the big one for this week. And you see these red going exact, both of these going exact, and it's Mercury and Sun opposite of Pluto. I'll show you the diagram here. Let's just go to the first day. This is Thursday the 14th. You got Mercury and the Sun together, and we're working on an opposition with Pluto. Even Mercury is within 8 degrees, so is technically within an opposition of Pluto. Pluto in Capricorn, so goal-oriented control. Practical control, earth-related control, and power over others. So now should we care about them? Or when you start caring so much, your thoughts start to get weaker because of Mercury combust. And that starts now because we're within 3 degrees of the sun. So mental aptitude is really worsened a lot, less than 3 degrees. So thoughts are cloudier, foggier, rationalization, logic goes out the window, travel is more difficult. And Sun is in Cancer, worried about other people, nurturing, protecting them. But is it too much? Because we don't have our logic with us as much as we are used to. And opposition, we got to work out balance with Pluto, control. Moon has just passed through there, but is not too much of a factor at this point. This is midway through Thursday the 14th. But you got this continuum, caring versus control. When is too much caring, and when does control start? Not that control is bad by itself, right? We got to make sure that we apply that in a healthy and balanced way. Oppositions are meant to force you into a situation where you need to produce some balance. So things are going to feel out of balance in terms of how much caring, how much should I care about the issues they're telling me I should care about, and how much should I control? That will be for all of us. And you're doing so with a weak mind. So pay attention. Further down this CIRF report, we're going to get into the solutions. That's going to be really important so that you don't mess up this whole influence of caring versus control balance. And we still have Uranus ever so slowly creeping towards the North Node. It's only a little more than 2 degrees away. So the future is getting more and more rebellious. And that's also matched in all different places around the world where uprisings are happening against control, against tyranny, against authoritarianism. And that is Uranus. Uranus is our future. Is this the age of Aquarius? Well, not because of this, but this matches that energy of the age of Aquarius. So we have freedom and rebelliousness in our future. That's our karmic North Node in Taurus. So the material world, it is the finer things in life, is rebelliousness and freedom. Okay. And that's putting pressure on Saturn and Aquarius. So it's putting pressure on this is the way it's going to be. Uranus and Aquarius are the same archetypes. And so we got it over on this side of the square. This pressure is building for rebelliousness and freedom, and that's the way it's going to be, folks. So there, but it's may not feel good to a lot of people as this thing progresses. And then our powerful dreams. All right, we have a day of adjustments. Look at all these long lines. You have the 2 oppositions, but the majority of them are in conjuncts. So adjustments are needing to be made. The control thing in Pluto and Capricorn is adjusting to Venus. That whole thing is adjusting relationships and adjusting through emerging power struggles. So relationships will have some power struggles here on Friday. And look how this is important, probably the most important energy, at least on Friday the 15th, is this Venus and Pluto Venus and Pluto in conjunct. So they're adjusting each other. They're working not against each other per se, but they're affecting tremendously each other. So you've got basically power struggles in your relationships as sort of a predominant energy above and beyond this control versus caring thing that's strengthening as we speak. And we also have only less than 2 degrees away with Mercury combust. So ego is there having to care and protect with a weak mind and is adjusting to emotional releases of the age of Aquarius. I love that one. So this, the moon coming over Saturn in Aquarius is big part of this adjusting energy. So your ego that is on the caring side of this, working through the caring versus control continuum, is having to adjust with a weak mind to this very emotional release of the energies of the age of Aquarius as pressurized by Uranus and North Node. Man, there's so much in this astrology, and I'm not even covering it all. But again, we're focused on the main energies. Just the day-to-day stuff will obviously affect you, but we're more concerned about the simplistic form of this tropical astrology. On Saturday, the 16th at 2:37 p.m. Central Time, this is when Mercury goes Cazimi. Now, I do need to tell you that down here, when we look at our parallel latitude of the planets, these are not parallel, meaning that Mercury and the Sun are not within 17 minutes of each other. But just 2 days later, they will be. So at that time, Mercury will be past the Sun, but exactly the same inclination is what it's called. All right. And when that happens, it'll be you know, okay, well, let me finish my thoughts. It'll be combust outside of the Cazimi. However, so if you're new to these terms, the combust is when Mercury gets weaker and weaker and weaker as it gets closer to the sun. It's like burned out. It's getting shined away, shined out. It's all I can see is the sun. It's like a headlight. You can't see the car. And, quite literally, Mercury being representative of transportation as well. But then Cazimi happens when you're within about 17 minutes of the sun. But I'm including not just the azimuth of the planets, but also the inclination in that 17 minutes. And technically, it's just outside of that 17 minutes, but I'm calling it Cazimi. And because it's extremely close, so you're going to have this period of time around 2:37 p.m. Central Time in America, where mind goes on hyperdrive. Very clear, very good insights. Logic goes extremely clear for a period of time when it's within 17 minutes. So just before, middle afternoon. I don't know, plus or minus an hour-ish from these, or maybe a few minutes. I didn't look at the time. I didn't have time to get your exact Cazimi times. But they're going to be clustered around that 2:37 p.m. on Saturday the 16th. And you'll get profound mental aptitude for Cancer topics such as protection, caring, nurturing, mother, but forced to balance with goal-oriented control. That does not go away. In fact, it's getting stronger. Now we're back to Mercury going combust, in other words, weakened. And it's getting tighter with this opposition. Now on the special thing on Sunday the 17th, you've got all these trines here. So this represents easy energy. And you have a lot of water. You have basically a grand water trine. And if you include the south node in it, and that's going to ease things up quite a bit. Still with a weak mind. And this easy energy goes down to Neptune. So this is our inner connectivity. Sun, our ego, has, weak mind allows the ego to escape. And remember, it's all about connection too. These are in Pisces, so it's our inner connectivity. It's our transcendent existence, a transcendent part of us, the part of us that are all connected to each other. And that is easy energy. Neptune is also escape, so Sun can easily escape, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Could be used as in a good way too. Just prevent yourself from going way too out there would be suggested. Not any escapes from problems. How about that? You'll just create more problems. Monday the 18th, we got Venus is in Cancer now. So relationships are much more caring, but it's a square over to, let's see. So Moon, Jupiter, and Chiron is included in that. Well, it will be soon. And it's hard to feel optimistic with your relationships. There's still a power struggle. There's 3 degrees away from that in conjunct. And then there's the pressure over to Jupiter, pressure to feel optimistic and wise. And it's not working. And because there's a square there, that energy doesn't flow very well. So hard to feel optimistic about relationships with people trying to control the other person. This continuum is here with Venus as well, because Venus just in Cancer is asking you to be much more caring to the other. But with this in conjunct, we're actually playing off the other person's control and power. So we're back to that continuum again. And then Tuesday the 19th, we have Mercury that goes into Leo. Our thoughts are still weak, but in addition, so they're still combust. with 3 degrees outside. So, but that part is getting less dramatic, but instantly the Mercury goes into what's called a fall in Leo, and so it's less ease. So it's harder to think, and so now you got foggy and thoughts. You just become more impulsive, childish. They need attention. They're kind of whiny, sort of maybe dominate. Leo likes to lead and dominate, but on the positive side, might allow you to be a little bit more creative, and childish in and of itself isn't a bad thing either. So we can see the world through childlike wonderment, and that's a very positive thing if you do that correctly. But the continuum is still there, and it's gone perfect. The sun is in a perfect conjunction here on Tuesday the 19th. And so this is the climax of the ego, the caring ego. And am I caring too much, or am I controlling? And then Wednesday the 20th, Mercury well into Leo, Venus well into Cancer. Still that square off Venus, still the opposition to Pluto, so everything is still pretty much there. Still the magical, powerful dreams with Pluto and sextile Neptune. That's a lot, and I didn't even cover half of it, but those are the dominant forces. All right, let's go into the I-Ching. We start with 37. Hexagram 37 is the extended family. It's the interdependence of humanity. Respect for different roles is essential. Trust, shared responsibilities, and good communication are primary values in the extended family. It doesn't mean that it's only family members. It means the further out connections, and to realize that we're all one part of a human interdependence family. Harmonious family is a team that symbolizes the ideal of human interdependence. For example, you've got German farmers and Dutch farmers coming together over in Europe and exchanging flags, and probably never met either of them meeting each other before this, but realizing that they were already harmonious and interdependent long before this. And it is the foundation for society, this interdependence. The healthy family is an embryo of community. The forces that bind a family are a balance of feminine and masculine. The nurturing and receptive combined with outgoing leadership and taking responsibility. Line 3 is basically excessive severity will cause further regret, meaning that getting too far on either direction of that continuum, you will have regretful action. Line 4, melding of extremes. We got the yin and the yang, but called caring and control. Line 5 is be loving and trustworthy rather than bold and inconsistent. So that becomes a factor in the last half of this week, with Mercury going into Leo and getting stronger from the combust, but weaker in Leo. All right, and when you put those change lines in, that is 3, 4, and 5, you get the solution, 21, cutting through. Cutting through, we've seen this quite a bit in 2022 as a solution in the CIRF report. It basically means don't run, don't escape. It is, and this is our behavioral set, it's sink your teeth in and stand up strong and cut through. Bite the head off the snake. Somehow the way to harmony and unity is blocked and frustrated, perhaps by a tangle of deceit and corruption. Yep, we know. Though your actions may be vigorous, they must not be hasty, severe, and arbitrary. Be sure to carefully consider all the circumstances. In those situations where serious issues of justice are at stake, Keep careful records. Do not hesitate to go public with the truth. This is the time behaviorally. Go public with the truth. Speak your mind. All right, we put this into the conversion chart, and we have, this is Mercury Cazimi at perfection, and so it's 2:37 p.m. Central Time on Saturday the 16th, and we put that into the conversion chart, and we get hexagram 62 and Gemini. It's called the preponderance of the small, hexagram or gate, as we call them in the Rave Mandala. 62, asceticism, the perfected ascetic withdrawal in the pursuit of harmony and simplicity, where outside dangers do not exist. There is time to pursue inner meaning in detail that can only be expressed after periods of isolation and reflection. So this isn't necessarily the act of isolating. We do have the interdependence as the influence, but the solution is the result of isolation is getting, and reflection is getting the thoughts about something, the deeper meaning to it, but the focus is on the simplicity part of things, stripping things down to what's just essential. All right, and that did not do it justice, but let's look at the overall slideshow. Remember to go to interzention.com. That's right there. Right. Oh, below the cursor. interzention.com. And get your 50% off of a past life regression with Angie. All right, solution slide. Start with the influence. Remember, this is the continuum of caring or loving someone so much that you actually start controlling them. And that whole continuum, it's asking you, it's putting pressure on that focus to balance that out. So the overview of the influence is this. Easy to start over caring, as Mercury combust in Cancer has to balance out caring versus controlling. Sun, Mercury also have easy access to the all-connected Neptune and Pisces. Awareness of our human interdependence adds fuel to the caring or the overcaring, i.e. control. So we are all connected. We all are interdependent, and we have a Sun in Cancer, all of us. And so now we are caring. Now, do we get over caring because of that Pluto influence or the opposition? That's the conundrum. So here's the solution. And we are using the I-Ching 21, cutting through, and just sink your teeth in and take care of problems. We have the Rave, which focuses on asceticism, pursuing harmony and simplicity. Not just for simplicity's sake, though. It's for introspection, meaning, purpose, very existential. And you come away with deeper meaning of everything that you contemplate. Sidereal is Gemini, who is versatile, alert, and communicative. These sort of all seem different, don't they? Sort of at odds with each other. So let's explore what this triangulation would be. This took me a few iterations of introspection myself, a very ascetic process of sort of automatic writing, putting some writing out, and then chewing on it, cutting through. Not cutting through, it's not a problem, but it's chewing on it, dreaming on it, and then coming back to this solution slide and writing a little bit more. So this was a very ascetic process for me personally. First and foremost this week, recognize the influence of caring in all its various healthy and unhealthy versions. Difficulty or problems this week might cluster around the interpersonal interdependence. Cut through that difficulty with tenacity. Use the Gemini versatility and alertness to adapt to fast-changing environments. Be aware of the natural difficulty of communication and logical thinking as you attempt to invoke the other Gemini gifts, because here's the The ironic thing is we have the Gemini sidereal solution, but we have Mercury going combust. We have a little short period of time of Cazimi where everything was, wow, amazing in mind and thoughts and logic. But the majority of this week is actually Mercury combust. And then at the back end of the week, it's Mercury is fall, so weak. And so how do we work that out? Well, Gemini is one of the best in going to the extremes. Some people see it as a really bad thing. Bipolar. Gemini is bipolar. It's the twins. So you can see Jekyll, and then the next moment they're Hyde. And that is actually a gift this week. So that's part of this solution, is to be very, very adaptable. That's the main thing you're going to pull from Gemini, because you don't have the other rational intelligence that you normally have with Gemini because of Mercury going combust and going into Leo. But you can certainly pull the adaptability portion out of Gemini as an essential part of going to the two extremes in the name of being balanced. According to the Rave, this week shows us the importance of seeking and finding inner meaning. A lifestyle of asceticism could be seen as the polar opposite of cutting through. There's another continuum, and extremes. So Gemini gives you the gift of going extreme asceticism in one moment, and then cutting through, tenacious, maybe extroverted in another moment. So that's the Gemini gift. We need both this week. We need both cutting through, and we need asceticism. And those two are not necessarily together, but they're not polar opposites either necessarily, because you can cut through, like, in other words, contemplate a problem in a form of asceticism and get deeper meaning as well. And meaning is not the only thing. You're getting a lot of insights in that environment, hopefully. Pick your battles. That's the cutting through, and cut through swiftly and effectively. The outcome of this cutting through is a step towards ascetic searches and deeper meaning. So you're facing issues, facing problems, not turning from them, cutting through, and then stepping back. So taste it a little bit, work on a little bit, and then step back and contemplate with your weak mind, with your caring mind, right? Your water mind. Create simplicity in your life to allow time for detailed soul searches. This is the asceticism part. Invoke the best of Gemini by becoming an expert in both extreme states, namely yin and yang. We need both this week. That's the answer to all the continuums that I presented to you. Yes, there are times that you need to control. Should you control others? I don't know. That's a delicate, very delicate situation. It holds a lot of karmic consequences. But there are things in your life, obviously, that you need to control. So if you can control it, that's where you go to that extreme of controlling and using the Pluto energy. When it has to do with other people, though, I'd be very suspectful if you think that controlling them is the way to go. It should be more caring. Do you really care? Do you really care? Or are you masquerading in a control of that? So using the Gemini to dance back and forth of these extremes so that you seek an overall balance of the two, the yin and the yang, okay? You have the option of using this affirmation, and it sounds like this. I surf the extremes this week easily and adapt to the fast changes. Just an option. Just an option. All right. This is I would say, one of the more difficult weeks in terms of the energies you have to face and the behaviors that are recommended for us from that solution set, from that triangulation. I think it's going to be pretty challenging. But as long as you keep your awareness on these, keep coming back to it, and maybe saying the affirmation, or put a sticky note up on your computer or on your mirror. And remember to surf the extremes. Don't be afraid of the extremes, but just don't stay there in all situations. It's context based. So when the situation changes, you go to the other extreme, right? A lot of us are good in one side of the extreme, but not good at both. So you're going to have to consciously practice where you're weak. In other words, some of you are good at working really hard and not relaxing. So you're going to have to practice when it's time, when your body says you've had enough, you're going to have to go really hard, go into more of an extreme in relaxing. Some of you are experts in laziness, not getting things done, being around other people. Well, now you're going to have to go to the other extreme of asceticism, simplifying, contemplating, isolating. Not the whole time. You got to do it in the right context, right? So it takes a lot of adaptability, and I think that's why we have that Gemini gift. Not all of it. We're not going to be intelligent, rational, but we are going to be probably still agile. If you so choose, you got to consciously invoke this too. It's not the influence. It's a conscious behavior that you got to invoke. Versatile and agile. All right. You can do it as long as you're aware, right? If you're not aware, you're just going to have to hope that your subconscious does it for you, which, unless you've practiced this stuff, probably not. You might be one side of it, you're probably good at, but are you good at the other side? All right. Whew. All right, head over to interzention.com, get a hold of Angie, get your PLR, get your insights, and start recording your dreams. Remember that sextile with Pluto and Neptune. It's you got another 1.5 years to go, but don't wait. Your powerful dreams are happening as you speak. All right, and we will chat with you next week. Have a powerful week. All right, folks, have a great, aesthetic, meaningful week. All right. Take care. Love to all. Love to all. Bye now.